Good afternoon and welcome. Today we are here for our March 23rd, 2026 land use 3 p.m. land use hearing. We have two different land use hearings today. We're here today for the first one for 3 p.m. I call this meeting to order and I ask that you join me to stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. The United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for joining us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I am Larimer County Commissioner Jody Scheib-McNally, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. With me today are my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Kafalis and Commissioner Stevens. We are also joined by our County Attorney, Christine Luckinson. Good afternoon, Christine. And we are here also with our Community Development Director and our Planning Manager, Jenny Axmaker. We have also several other folks. We are going to continue. And also, I'm sorry, our clerk to the board, out of sight, out of mind. Sorry, Diane Cheney, we're right behind us, our clerk to the board, who is always so helpful and needed for taking minutes from today. And thank you for joining us. So I'm going to turn this over quickly before we talk about our consent items. Send this over to Jenny Axmaker, who can share with us more information about how this meeting will continue today and introduce the rest of the staff that are here in the room. And then I will talk about the consent agenda items. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Joining me at the dais, we have Laura Collier, one of our county planners. We have Amy White, our code compliance supervisor. We have Ryan Oswendell from our planning admin team. Across the way, we have Bruin Johnson from our engineering department. JC McNulty, another county planner. Senior planner Michael Whitley. We have other county planner Jared C. We have Katie Bilby from our engineering department, as well as Ashton Brodel from the health department. With that, I would like to respectfully request that all members of the audience silence their electronic devices. Please help yourself to a copy of the agenda and hearing procedure instructions that are located on the wall over here. If you're joining us online, you can find those on our website at larimer.gov/BOCC/commissioners-meetings. Please wait to speak until you're recognized by the chair. Please maintain civility, refraining from audience applause, comments, or dialogue, whether positive or negative. Please make all comments to the Board of County Commissioners from the podium. There is a portable microphone available, though, if needed. Please state your name at the beginning of your comments and provide the spelling of your name if it's unique. Please speak directly into the microphone so that remote participants may hear, and that microphone on the podium is repositionable to best capture your testimony. You may ask questions during your testimony, but they will not be answered until public comment is closed and rebuttal has begun. Upon request, we do have assisted listening devices available for the hearing impaired. For those of you on Zoom, you will be muted until you're recognized by the chair. If an online attendee wishes to speak or request a consent item be removed, please use the raise your hand function on the Zoom control bar or *9 on your phone. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that very much. As I said, we have some consent items on the consent agenda. And for the public's knowledge, consent agenda items are land use proposals where the applicant and the Planning Development Services team are in agreement with the details of the proposal and recommendation. And furthermore, consent items are presented when there's no known opposition and they are approved collectively without a full hearing. A consent agenda item can be pulled from the agenda by one of the commissioners or a member of the public. I'm going to read through these items first and list them off for our consent agenda, and then I will ask first the commissioners if they'd like to remove any, and then I would ask the public after that. So first, we have on our consent, for our public hearing consent items, we have 5 items. The first is the Choice Organics Transfer of Membership Interest, file number 13-G0257. We also have item number 2 is the Endrin ALA size appeal, file number 2026-GNRL 0586. Third is Windcliff Property Owners Association amended plat, file number 24-LAND 4453. Then we have the Norton right-of-way vacation, file number 25-LAND 4531. And then we have 5, a petition for the exclusion of parcel number 352740438 from the Tanninger Public Improvement District, PID number 72. Commissioners, I will now ask, would you like to have any of these items pulled from the consent agenda? No. Okay, thank you. And now I will ask if any members of the public wish to have any of these items pulled from the consent agenda. All right, I'm going to ask if, Ryan, if you could see online if there's any members of the public online that wish to have these items pulled from the consent agenda.
If any members would like to pull one of these items, please use the raise your hand function or *9 now. We have no hands raised.
Thank you. All right, so with that, with nobody wishing to pull in the items, I would ask Commissioner Stevens to make that motion for approval of the consent agenda today.
Yes, Madam Chair. I move to approve the items on the consent agenda, subject to the conditions in the staff reports, and further move to authorize the chair to sign the findings and resolutions.
That's proper motion. Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That passes 3-0. Okay, we're going to move on then to our discussion items. And thank you all. If you're in the audience and your matter has been taken care of, you are welcome to exit now, or unless you really would love to hang out for these really interesting land use hearings, you're welcome to stay. So thank you, staff. Okay, so with that, I'm turning it over, staff looking for the agenda. First, we have on our discussion item is the Larimer County ordinance relating to the accumulation and removal of rubbish and ordinance. And I'm going to turn this over to Amy White, who will explain what we are up to today, and we'll go from there. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Amy White, Code Compliance Supervisor. We're here on the third reading of this rubbish ordinance. The second reading, we had a couple clerical errors, and the notice that went to the paper may not have been accurate. And so in an abundance of caution, we are doing this third reading to make sure that it's properly done this time. I will read title only. It will go get published for 30 days, and then it will become effective 30 days after that publication. So with that, Larimer County Ordinance regulations relating to the accumulation of removal of rubbish.
That's it? Okay, just want to make sure. Okay. All right, so do we just need to make a motion, or is that just the hearing today and we're moving on? I just want to make sure for the public's knowledge that's all we needed to do today. No votes, just to hear that again.
That is correct. There was no verbiage change, and so it's just a matter of Commissioner you signing the ordinance there, and then we'll do the proper procedure after that.
Okay, thank you very much. And so I'll take care of that. And so we will now move on to our second item for discussion, which is the Mather short-term rental special review, file number 25-ZONE 3806. I guess I'm turning this over to Ms. Collier.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Laura Collier, presenting on the Mather short-term rental special review, file number 25 zone 3806. The applicant is requesting approval of a special review application for a 4-bedroom, 8-guest short-term rental in an existing single-unit residence. The property owner and applicant is here today, Timothy Mather. The property is located at 4901 Sandstone Drive in Fort Collins, which is in the Horsetooth Lakes Estate subdivision. The property is zoned O open. It is 0.38 acres in size. The property is serviced by Spring Canyon Water and Sewer, Poudre Fire Authority, and it takes access off of Sandstone Drive. A short-term rental is defined as a principal dwelling rented to transient guests who are part of one party for short-term lodging, which is 30 days or less, when not occupied by the owner or operator. A short-term rental is classified as a commercial lodging facility use in the Land Use Code and is permitted in the O Open Zone District following special review approval. This is an overview of the special review process, in which we're at step number 8, Board of County Commissioner review and decision. On November 14th of 2025, we sent 143 property owners within 1,000 feet of the property postcards notifying them of the application. 3 community members provided comments in opposition to the proposed short-term rental, which are included in your packet. To approve a special review application, the county commissioners must consider the following review criteria and find that each criterion has been met or determined to be inapplicable, in addition to the general review criteria found in 638D. And we also have the general standards for short-term rentals in 335B, the safety standards for short-term rentals, the floodplain standards for short-term rentals, roadway and access standards, and the Article 4 development standards. Staff are of the opinion that the proposed special review for the Mather short-term rental meets the criteria in 335B, 642D, and the development standards in Article 4. During the public hearing phase, no comments were received from Colorado Parks and Wildlife, Larimer Emergency Telephone Authority, and Spring Canyon Water and Sewer. This item was on the consent agenda for the February 18th, 2026 Planning Commission hearing. At the hearing, the item was removed from the consent agenda by a member of the public for a full discussion. During the public comment portion of the discussion, 1 community member spoke in support of the request and 1 community member spoke in opposition to the request. The Planning Commission voted to recommend approval of the Mather short-term rental special review application, and the motion passed with a vote of 7-0. On this slide, I have a suggested motion of approval with the following 13 conditions. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Collier. I will just ask right now if any of my colleagues have any questions for staff at this time. Okay, so what we'll do then is we will go ahead and allow the applicant for 10 minutes for a presentation on their item, and then we'll go to public comment after that. So I would invite Mr. Mather up to the podium, please. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tim Mather. I'll start by saying thank you to the commissioners for considering my application for a short-term rental and permit. And also a big thanks to Larimer County Planning Department for a lot of help, a lot of questions answered. So yes, I'm the applicant. I reside at 4901 Sandstone Drive. Bought the property in 2018. Always wanted to live up there. My daughter was going to high school at Rocky Mountain High School, and they provided bus service up there. So we've lived up there since 2018. Horsetooth Lake Estates is the HOA, and I run a small engineering company out of my home. And that's the address of my company and my personal address. I'm the vice president of Spring Canyon Water and Sewer District, and I've been on the board since 2022. My daughter Sydney worked at the Horsetooth Tavern for a couple of summers, and so we're engaged in the community since we've lived there. I think it made a lot of sense for me to be on the sewer board, or the district board, because I do a lot of water and sewer projects. So this gives you a kind of insight into how to get to my property, heading west out of Fort Collins. You take 38E to Overhill Drive, and so the aerial on the right shows Overhill Drive leading up to my property on Sandstone Drive. So I'm right on the corner of Overhill and Sandstone. Next slide. So the engineering study showed that Overhill Drive and Sandstone Drive met the Larimer County rural roadway standards for maximum slopes, minimum curvatures, width of the road. Overhill Drive is a private road maintained by Horsetooth Lake Estates. The roads are repaired and treated every year, and they use this emulsification product that really produces a hard paved surface. It's almost like normal pavement in a street. The road is 23 to 25 feet wide, so it exceeds the 20-foot width requirements, and I think provides room for both vehicular traffic and pedestrian traffic. But while meeting the rural roadway standards, it is somewhat steep coming up Overhill, and it's a little bit windy at the top, and it really promotes people to drive slow. Nobody's screaming up there, and I think anybody new to that road would be probably driving slower than the residents. Next slide. A couple of pictures of Overhill, which really is the main access. It's your own sandstone for just a turn into my driveway. So really the main access is Overhill. And this photo to the left is a paved section in front of my property, and then the one to the right is looking down to 38E. So you can see it looks paved. It does break up a little bit in the wintertime if we get a winter, but it's repaired every year and it's treated every year. So wildfire mitigation. I've been working on this since I bought the property in 2018, and I have been evacuated. The people I bought the property from were really good at keeping up the interior of the property and upgrades, but they weren't yard people, so it needed a lot of work. I had passed my fire mitigation and inspection late last year. Dakota with Larimer Sheriff's Department came, and she was very educational, and she talked about some additional things I needed to do, and I of course wanted to do. And I do believe my property is protected better than most in Horsetooth Lake Estates. Next. For one example, I learned that ground juniper is extremely flammable, and it was up against my house. It's shown in the lower photo. That's an older photo. And the one above shows it now, that all's been removed. So, and that bush has been trimmed way back. And I know this is one of the biggest concerns with short-term rentals is having people that respect the danger of wildfire and taking precautions. And so I have updated my operations manual to prohibit smoking on the property with a $500 fine. And I know there's no way I can make sure that doesn't happen, but I think with the threat of a $500 fine, people are going to be careful and take care of their butts. But hopefully nobody will smoke. Next slide. Okay, the aerial to the left shows my property in relation to the local fire station. It's about a mile away, so I feel response times could be minutes to my property. And the bigger aerial photo to the right is really to show that this isn't a heavily forested area. There's not a lot of fuel around Horsetooth Lake Estates. It's a lot of grasses, small bushes. I feel it's dispensable by the fire authority, as well as my house with all the mitigation that I've done. This just shows the property, my driveway. There's plenty of room for parking for 4 cars, which is what my permit application is for. And this shows the inside of my house. I was really lucky. This is kind of my dream house when I first moved here 30 years ago, to live up in the hills in a kind of a rustic type house. But my daughter's left the house. I'm an empty nester. I can work remotely. So it's an opportunity for me to travel a little bit and offer my house for others to enjoy and make their own memories at. Next slide. And finally, I really think my short-term rental would, if approved, would provide some local benefit to the local economy. Visitors will purchase things at the Horsetooth store. They'll likely gather and eat and listen to music at the Horsetooth Tavern. They could rent boats and jet skis at Inlet Bay Marina, and they'll be purchasing park passes for the county and state parks that are all around my property. And so just a couple of final notes. I do have 2 other rental properties that I rent annually, so I'm not new to the rental renting properties. This will be a little bit different, but it's probably essentially the same. Phone calls that the dishwasher's not working or the plumbing's backed up. But those are simple calls to the plumber and the whatever repair person needs to come. I am going to offer it at a minimum 5-day rental, so you can't rent it for less than 5 days. And I really feel like that will avoid having weekend warriors coming in to rent the place. I really want to attract families that want to stay for a longer period of time. And Horsetooth Lake Estates just de-annexed the lower, what they call the lower lots. So those are the lots behind the bar. That neighborhood down there, they don't want to pay to maintain the roads, and it's pretty obvious. You drive down there, they don't maintain the roads. So with that just happened, I believe, last month. If approved, this would be the first short-term rental in Horsetooth Lake Estates. And that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. So I think we're almost out of time anyway. Thank you for your presentation. Colleagues, do you have any questions for this gentleman right off the bat? Commissioner Kofalis?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Mather, for your presentation. A question I have, and then a little bit of constructive feedback regarding a typo that I noticed in the operations manual. The question first is, you mentioned about the road meets the overhill. The 2 roads that access your property, that they meet the road standards, the county road standards, but it gets kind of windy and steep at the top. And you said it's windy, and that kind of causes people to slow down. But I think you mentioned other traffic calming things along that road. Could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, it's actually a steep grade as you go up, and when it starts to flatten out, there's a couple of windy turns, and then it comes up to my property. There's criteria for minimum radiuses for, I say windy, but it still meets the Larimer County roadway standards for curvature and things like that. Am I getting to your question?
Yeah. Yes, I understand that what you said, that the engineering study showed that it met the road standards. I thought you had referenced some additional traffic calming things that are set up on that road other than it's windy at the top.
Yeah. Traffic engineers use that term, traffic calming features, roundabouts or traffic calming features, and they promote less hazardous accidents. But I'm just saying the characteristics of this road with a steep section and some curves, people really go pretty slow through there. It's even the residents. It's just a different. It's not everybody's traveling steep, more windy roads, and people just, I think, typically slow down. Yeah.
Thank you. by way of feedback, sir, I noticed in the section of the operations manual that talks about county and state parks, you might want to check the spelling of Lori State Park. I believe you have it spelled Lori, and you might want
Okay.
to change that,
I will do that.
assuming this goes forward.
That's an engineer thing. We don't know how to spell.
Sometimes I spot those things.
Commissioner
These guys are all
Stevens?
nodding their heads.
Commissioner Stevens, any questions?
I don't have any at this time.
I'll go ahead and ask my couple. I think in your presentation you mentioned that really there's not heavily forested areas, so it may not be a wildfire prone area, but as a wildfire, I call myself a wildfire commissioner and work in wildfire matters every week. If you look at Nebraska right now, it's 800,000 acres or more, almost 1 million in grass fires. So really a lot of times wildfires can also race through neighborhoods with structures, and your house is a log cabin, and I don't know what kind of measures you've taken, but there's still a lot of high wildfire risks there. And the Hyde Park fire that raced through there in 2012 certainly threatened and had to evacuate that area. So I think that would be important for, even though you've mitigated around, just to understand it's still a pretty high risk area, even if it's not heavily forested. It's still in what we call the WUI zone, and very important. So do you? I did see those misspellings in the manual. Is that something that I didn't know if you had really listed kind of the evacuation zones for in case of a wildfire in your manual of where to go or how to get out, or how to sign up for LEDA alerts?
I thought that stuff was in there.
Okay, maybe I didn't see it, and I know
It should be at
staff
the
would
very-
probably, I see that you
very
have
end.
emergency information in there, but I wasn't sure if staff had, and I'm not sure if it's required, but it was just something I thought was important for folks to maybe sign up for alerts just in case.
We require the LEDA alert page in there, and I typically double check the operation manual after the hearing to make sure before we issue the license that we have everything in there.
Okay, so I wasn't, it didn't jump out at me. I was just looking through it again, and that's, I had also noticed the misspelling. So one thing I wanted to make sure, because it's still kind of a high risk area, important for folks to be understanding where to go and things. So thank you for that, Ms. Collier. My other question is for staff at the moment, but I won't have you move yet. Do we know, he says this is the first one in this home area. Do we know that from our maps the intensity or how many are in that area and how close they are?
Yes, I can show on the screen here.
Yes, thank you.
It doesn't have the specific subdivisions outlines on here, but we can see just the density. So this map has the open space and the 500-foot buffer requirement, because I was anticipating that being a question
Yes.
from you all.
Yes.
So that's turned on already. So that red space along here is showing the buffer, and then these orange squares to the east are approved short-term rentals, all previously approved under previous regulations. And this is the property at the black circle here.
Okay, so the density is it's definitely under more than 500 feet. So
That's
Okay.
correct.
okay, and I appreciate that was going to be a question of mine. So thinking ahead. Thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. And then my last question was back to your neighbors and some of the folks in your HOA who you had said maybe that wasn't correct, or that they said the HOA doesn't allow that. You said it hadn't been voted on, and I was wondering how you could kind of help your neighbors if this does pass, to understand that maybe if they have questions, they know they could write complaints to the county through our complaint system, or contact you, and you have to respond within a certain amount of time. So I don't know how close you would be if you're not, because I think that's still one of our regulations is someone's going to respond within 24 hours. And so if you're out traveling and you're managing this property, how
I'm not.
Okay, so is that listed on? Okay, I wasn't sure I had read that correctly. So, are you maybe going to reach out to some of those folks that had concerns and give them that property manager's number and also how to contact things and maybe reach out to those who maybe
Sure. Yeah.
in
If
the
you think
HOA.
that's a good idea, I think it's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And I'm sorry, I didn't see that because I was still looking for the general page. So, and so I think that's all there it is. Okay, that's all I had for now. So let's go to public comment. And I'll have you sit down and then you'll have if there's public comment, you'll have a 5-minute rebuttal and we might have more questions then. Thank you. So is there anyone signed up for public comment in the audience today? If you'd like to come up, public comment is now. You'd have 3 minutes, and you're welcome to come up to the podium and speak whatever you'd like to speak. But not for you, but for anybody who wants to make public comment. Sir, I see you're here. Would you like to speak to public comment? Okay. I just want to make sure. So now we'll ask Ryan if you want to go online and see if anybody would like to speak to public comment.
If anyone online would like to speak on this item, please use the raise your hand function or *9 now. We have no hands raised.
Okay. Last call. Anybody for public comment? Okay, we'll close public comment then. I don't think we really have a need for a rebuttal if there's no public comment. So I just think we probably won't have you come back up. So I'll see. So no need for rebuttal. So let's see one more time if anybody, my colleagues have any questions or concerns from staff. Okay, so are we ready to move into deliberation?
Could I add one thing? I just
Yes.
wanted to note that condition number 13 in the report states that the property owner needs to mail the property manager contact information to everyone within 1,000 feet of the property boundary, so they will be notified of the property manager.
Yeah, I knew that. I was just asking the applicant to see what his
Okay.
intentions were. I
Just
wanna
wanted to
see if-
double check.
No, that was kind of my test of willingness. So to see if they knew about that and if they were willing to do that, especially about the LIDA. And if Sarah, I just wanted to see you said the LIDA thing was in there or was in there? I didn't. It's in there. Okay. I just must have read through it too fast today. So okay. But I did catch the spelling, so I read it, Commissioner Gonzalez, because I did catch the spelling too. So, okay. So we'll go ahead and start with deliberation, and we'll start with Commissioner Stevens.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you to the applicant for coming. And I just wanted to thank the people. We had a little bit of public comment that came in through our website, and so wanted to acknowledge that we did read through that public comment. I will be supporting this application. It meets all the review criteria as I see it listed, and this is under our new standards. So the review criteria is beefed up from how it's been in the past. So it really does address, but appreciate the applicant addressing some of the work that he's done around the building to make sure that, that he's done that wildfire mitigation and that you passed. And then I think the staff probably told you that while the hours that were listed were 9 to 9 for quiet time, it's really 7 to 7 in our, but that's listed in the, what's the word I'm striving for? The conditions. So I'm supportive of this. I appreciate the work that's been done. I do think that with the new requirements, it really does provide some protections for the community, more protections against wildfire, protections around, safe roadways, and but I believe all the conditions are met, as did staff, I believe, and so I am happy to support this application.
Thank you, Commissioner Stevens. Commissioner Kafalis.
Thanks, Madam Chair, and I appreciate Commissioner Stevens acknowledging that while we didn't have any public comment, that we did get at least a few emails, a couple in opposition, one in support. So I appreciate that you acknowledge that it does matter. Thank you to the applicant who came in and presented. I believe all the boxes are checked regarding wildfire mitigation. the road standards, all of those kinds of things, making sure that the operations manual and the emergency information is in place. So I too will support this short-term rental special review application.
Thank you, Commissioner Kafalis. Yes, it is important to note that these are under the new standards, which were over a long year's process and community stakeholder engagement and a lot of work from the community and the commission and the staff. We did a lot of work to to strengthen protections for the community about short-term rentals, and there's still a process and complaint process and folks to comply, and then we have all these conditions of approval. There's 13 attached in this application. And I did, sometimes I ask questions just to see how the applicant responds. And I do think all the criteria from sub-articles about lighting and water quality, all the things that we went through, and the roadway standards are very stringent and really make sure that we're taking care of the community, but also the visitors to make sure they're having a safe access in and out, especially in such a high-risk wildfire area. I do, again, I want to echo my colleagues' comments. I did read through all those opposition emails and understand for the neighbors their concerns, and that's why I asked for that map to pull up so I could see the density. I know staff would have noted that if there was a higher density or several in close, but I still wanted to kind of show that. And so, though I still sometimes have concerns about short-term rental in residential neighborhoods, I do believe this application has met all the criteria, and we have the 13 extra conditions of approval, and I thank staff for spelling those out. And so I will join my colleagues in supporting this application. So, Commissioner Fallis, would you make that motion, please?
Yes, I move that the Board of County Commissioners approve the Mather short-term rental file number 25-zone 3806, subject to the following conditions. I think 5 are listed, but I think there are a total of 13. Subject to the conditions that are listed in the Planning Commission staff report, attachment A.
Thank you for that motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. We now have no other items on this 3 p.m. land use hearing. Christine, would you like to? Yes. I see you're wanting to speak something.
Yes, this is Christine Lexison from the County Attorney's Office. I made a mistake on the rubbish ordinance motion, and there does need to be a motion and an adoption. So if we could bring it back up, reopen it, open it for public comment, close it, and then vote.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
No, that's okay. That's why I asked, because I was like, okay. So, but the other item's finished. So we'll now reopen the early. Oh, we did vote. Didn't we vote? Yeah, we did. 3-0. Correct? Did we vote? No? Okay. All those in favor of the motion that was read for the short-term rental? I thought we voted. I thought we said all said aye. I thought I said aye first. So. Okay. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we'll do it again. All right. Diana was looking for Diana. I thought we had, but okay. So we'll now go backwards to the rubbish ordinance. We'll reopen that item, which was read by our co-compliance supervisor, Amy White. And so now we will open up for public comment. Is there any public comment for this item in the audience? I don't see anyone. Okay, we'll ask Ryan to ask me online for any public comment regarding this item.
If anyone online would like to speak on this item, please raise your hand. There are no hands raised.
Okay, last time. Any last call? Okay, we'll close public comment, and now we will allow the motion, and I'll ask Commissioner Stevens to read that motion. And this is to approve this rubbish ordinance And is that all we need to do is have her read the file number and read the rubbish ordinance, the rubbish ordinance and the file number? If you wouldn't mind, it's on the land use under the public hearing. It's file number 25-CODE0289.
And Commissioner Stevens is moving to adopt.
Moving to adopt.
Thank you.
Yes, Madam Chair, I move to adopt the 2025 rubbish ordinance amendment on third reading, file number 25, code 0289.
Thank you for that motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, that passes 3-0. And now we have taken both items from our public hearing discussion. Items 1 and 2 are now passed, and at 3:40 we are adjourned. We'll be convening at 6:30 for the next land use hearing. Thank you.